She was quiet for hours, not asleep, just still. The kind of stillness that fills a room and makes time feel like it's holding its breath. The nurse said she hadn't spoken all day, but then, as the sun began to dip through the blinds and the golden light touched her pillow, she turned her head slightly and whispered, "I see the light." No one asked her what she meant. No one needed to, because in that moment, everyone in the room felt it. Something had shifted, and whether it was the light in the window or something beyond it, she was seeing something the rest of us couldn't. If you've ever sat beside someone you loved during their final days, a mother, a father, a partner, a friend, you know exactly what I mean when I say there are moments that never leave you, words that never leave you. Because in those last days, the people we love often whisper things that feel like riddles, but somehow land like truth. Soft, short phrases that echo louder than any speech, and long after they've gone, those few words stay in your mind, in your heart, forever. This video is about those words, what they meant, why they matter, and what they might be trying to tell us and give us before letting go. It's not fiction, it's not dramatized. Every phrase I'll share with you today comes from the quiet corners of real hospice rooms, from nurses who've held hands through hundreds of final moments, from sons and daughters who didn't understand what they were hearing until it was too late, and from people, maybe like you, who are still carrying the weight of, "I wish I had asked what they meant." So if you're here right now listening, I just want to say this clearly. This is not about fear, it's about grace, about honoring the most human part of us. The words we leave behind when there's nothing left to prove, when the ego fades, when the noise quiets, when love speaks the loudest, even in a whisper. I remember the first time I heard someone say, "They spoke right before they passed," but I didn't understand what they meant. It was a friend whose mother had battled cancer. She hadn't spoken for 2 days, but in her final hours, she reached for her daughter's hand and said, "Tell him I forgave him." No name, no explanation, just that. And it haunted her daughter for years. Was she talking about her father, her brother, a friend? But over time, that daughter realized something deeper. Maybe the words weren't meant to be explained. Maybe they were meant to be released. A final weight laid down, a wound quietly healed. Hospice nurses, the people who witness more endings than most of us will in a lifetime, say it happens all the time. Not just once, but over and over again. And what's most striking is that these last words often fall into certain patterns, certain phrases, certain themes. Not just babble, not confusion, but clarity, like the soul knows what it needs to say. And only when it's been said can it truly let go. I want to share 4 of these phrases with you today, not to make you sad, not to make you anxious, but to help you listen, truly listen, if and when the moment comes. Because understanding these final words may be one of the most profound gifts we can offer someone we love. So many of us have sat at a bedside, watching a loved one slip away, holding their hand, waiting, praying, but missing the meaning of the whisper, because we were too heartbroken to hear what was being said, but not anymore, not after today. In this video, I'm going to walk you gently through 4 phrases that hospice nurses say come up again and again. They might seem small, but they're enormous. They carry stories, regrets, blessings, goodbyes, all packed into a few precious breaths. And if you recognize even one of them, from someone you've already lost or someone you're caring for now, I want you to do something simple. Just type yes in the comments, because that tiny word does something powerful. It reminds all of us that we're not alone, that these moments are shared, that love connects us, even across the silence. Before we begin, I just want to take a moment to say thank you. Thank you for being the kind of person who listens, the kind of person who doesn't run from real moments, but leans into them with heart. This won't be easy, but it will be honest. And if it helps even one person speak one word of peace before goodbye, then it's worth every second. Now take a deep breath and let's begin. Because the first phrase might be the one you've been waiting your whole life to hear. The first phrase that hospice nurses hear more often than you might imagine is simply, "I'm sorry." Sometimes it comes from someone who hasn't spoken in days. Sometimes it slips out of a person who was never the emotional type, never one to show regret or open their heart. But in those final moments, when all the walls are down, it emerges softly, like a ripple from the soul. And it's not always about big betrayals or dramatic confessions. Sometimes it's about the small things that never got resolved. The years gone by without a call, the missed birthdays, the harsh words said during stress. Hospice nurses say this phrase often carries more weight than the person can fully express. Because when someone says, "I'm sorry" near the end, they're not seeking pity, they're seeking peace. It's their spirit reaching for closure, their heart asking to be seen one last time, not as perfect, but as human. And if you ever hear someone you love say those two words, even faintly, even if they struggle to get them out, don't brush it off. Don't wave it away. Pause. Look them in the eyes and say, "I forgive you," or even, "There's nothing to forgive." Because that moment of forgiveness, spoken with softness and truth, can lift a weight they've been carrying for years. And, perhaps even more, it can lift a weight from your own chest too. Sometimes, "I'm sorry" is the beginning of a final conversation the heart's been waiting to have. And when those words land gently, the healing that follows can last a lifetime. Right beside that phrase, often whispered with the same kind of fragile honesty, is another one: "Thank you." These two words, so simple, so common in everyday life, take on a whole new power in the final hours. Hospice nurses say they've heard it spoken to everyone, to the spouse sitting beside the bed, to the son who flew across the country, to the nurse adjusting the pillow, to the granddaughter holding a trembling hand. Some even whisper it to the room itself, as if thanking the space for holding them during their final days. And when you hear it, you feel it, not as a routine phrase, but as a gift. It comes with deep presence, deep seeing. It's not just "thank you for helping me." It's "thank you for walking this path with me." It's "thank you for the love you gave, for the time you stayed, for the moments you thought I didn't notice, but I did." It's the soul saying, "I saw you, I felt your care, and it mattered. Even when I couldn't speak, even when I looked tired or far away, it mattered." And if you ever hear "thank you" in those final days, know this: you made a difference. You showed up. You loved when it was hardest. And that love was received. These two phrases, "I'm sorry" and "thank you," may be the most human words we ever speak. And when they're spoken at the end, they echo louder than we can imagine. Because in those moments when there's nothing left to hold on to but love, those whispers become sacred. They are not random, they are not small, they are everything. The third phrase hospice nurses often hear is one that sounds simple on the surface, but carries a universe of emotion beneath it. "I'm tired." Not the kind of tired that comes from a long day or a restless night, but a deeper kind. The kind that lives in the bones, in the breath, in the soul. When someone says "I'm tired" near the end, they're not just talking about their body, they're telling you their spirit is gently winding down. Nurses say this phrase often comes after long battles, with illness, with fear, with holding on for the sake of others. And sometimes it's the first honest permission they give themselves to let go. They're not giving up, they're not depressed, they're just done carrying the weight. "I'm tired" can be whispered with a tear or spoken with a strange, serene smile. And if you hear it, don't panic. Don't rush to fix it. Don't drown it in denial or false hope. Instead, listen, hold space, be present. Maybe respond with something as gentle as, "It's okay. I'm here. You've done enough." Because what they often need in that moment isn't a plan. It's peace, a quiet knowing that someone understands, that they don't have to keep pushing through just to comfort everyone else, that it's okay to rest. And for the family, for the loved ones sitting beside that bed, this can be one of the hardest things to hear, but also one of the most sacred. Because "I'm tired" is often the beginning of surrender, not in weakness, but in grace. It's the soul saying, "I've given my all. and now I just want to be held. And sometimes the most powerful thing we can do in that moment is simply hold them, not with arms, but with presence, with permission, with love that doesn't demand more, but accepts everything. When I'm tired is spoken, the heart is asking for rest, and giving them that rest, with dignity, compassion, and reverence, may be the most profound act of love we'll ever offer. The fourth phrase that echoes through the quiet corners of hospice rooms, often in the stillness between breaths, is this: I want to go home. And while some might hear that and think of a physical address, a familiar bedroom, or a favorite chair by the window, hospice nurses know it usually means something much deeper. It's not always about a house. It's about a feeling of safety, of belonging, of returning to something greater than this world. Sometimes patients say it with a longing in their eyes, like they're reaching for a place beyond what we can see. Other times they say it with clarity, as if they know exactly where they're headed, even if they can't describe it. I want to go home is the soul's way of saying, I'm ready. Not out of fear, not because they're giving up, but because something inside them recognizes that their journey is coming full circle. It may be spoken by someone who hasn't spoken in days, or someone who was always logical, never spiritual. And yet in these final moments, the word home becomes a soft lighthouse on the horizon. Nurses say that when this phrase comes, families often try to redirect it, saying, you are home, or we're right here. But the truth is, the home they're talking about might not be here. It might be a memory, a feeling, or something far beyond what we understand. And maybe, just maybe, the most loving thing we can do is simply nod, hold their hand, and whisper back, it's okay. You can go when you're ready. We'll carry your love with us. Because when someone says, I want to go home, they're not leaving us. They're just going somewhere we can't follow. Not yet. And honoring that longing without fear is one of the most sacred gifts we can offer. So here we are, at the end of a video that isn't really about death, but about what it means to live, love, and let go with grace. These 4 whispered phrases, I'm sorry, thank you, I love you, and I want to go home, may seem simple on the surface, but inside each one is a world of meaning, a lifetime of emotion folded into just a few final breaths. And if you've ever heard one of them, or all of them, from someone you loved, then you know exactly how sacred those moments can be. They are not just goodbyes, they are gifts, echoes of truth that remind us what matters most: forgiveness, gratitude, love, and peace. If you're watching this and thinking of someone who once whispered something soft in their final days, or someone who might be approaching that season, please do one thing right now. Type I remember in the comments. Let their memory be seen. Let their words ripple through this space, because every time we share these quiet goodbyes, we turn sorrow into connection and silence into legacy. And if this video brought tears to your eyes, or calm to your heart, or a name to your lips, I ask gently that you like, share, and subscribe, not for algorithms, but so that more people don't walk through this part of life alone. Because when we learn to listen to final words, we learn how to live our middle years better. And in a world that moves too fast, where so many things are loud and shallow, these soft, fading phrases hold the deepest truths. So remember them, honor them, and speak your own before it's too late. The end of life is not just about fading, it's about finishing with love.